the girl's psychology, boy's psychology different. So it said the girl becomes mature at a younger age. If the girl is 13, she's already mature. But the boy is 13, he's still a juvenile delinquent. He's still a complete nonsense rascal. So it takes longer. So he might be as mature as the 13-year-old girl when he's like 20 or 25, he's sort of become sobered up and a bit more mature.
Goshen, you're still delinquent, huh?
No, he's very Dhira, becoming very sober, very Dhira, like that. So, yeah, that's very scientific, highly scientific. Mainly, it's set up so that everyone's going to be happy. There's not going to be any unnecessary problems, anxieties. Now, modern day society, everyone's free to do whatever they like, but are we happy? No. Are we peaceful? No. Do we have anxieties? Heaps. Stress, heaps. But previously it was not like that. People are very peaceful, very satisfied, very happy. They always feel protected and safe and looked after and cared for and like that, and all their desires get fulfilled, like that, to be, like I said, to be protected and safe, and and they get finances, money, and and romance is there, and all the things, and kids are there if you want kids are there, and everything's there, so, and household animals and so many things, and it's all there. So it's set up to provide everything that you want. Everything that you want, you can get it. And then when all your material desires are fulfilled, then what? That gives you an opportunity to do what?
To pursue your spiritual pursuit.
Yeah, that's it. That's why it's set up like that. I had my kids. I got the money. I got a partner. I got a house. I got, a horse and a cow, and now it's a motor car. So you got all the things. Now what? No, all my desires filled. Okay, now what about God? What's my relationship with God? So, but if you're frustrated and all your material ambitions and desires are not fulfilled, then you're not going to be thinking about God. You're thinking about where is money, where is money, where is the partner, where's the partner, where's the partner, where's the partner, all these things. So you still haven't, the basic things you haven't got. So your whole life is spent running after these things, and never satisfied like that. But Vedic culture is set up so perfectly, arranging all of our material necessities are there. You have, sufficient food, sufficient shelter, sufficient, companionship, if you want children, whatever like that, finances, everything is there. Protection is there. Everything is there. As you know, 4 needs of the body, right? What are the 4 needs of the body?
Food.
Yep. Ahar.
Nidra.
Yep. Sleep. Shelter. Maituni. Yep. And some companionship, mating, like that, reproduction. Yep.
And defending.
Yeah, bhayam. Because of fear, we need some protection, some defending. So yeah, that when these 4 things are met, then what are you going to do? My stomach is full. I'm not going to just keep thinking about food. It's already full. So you can't. Isn't it? You can't think about. You think about food when your stomach's empty. Does anyone think about food when your stomach's full? No. When I was serving my guru, say I served him lunch. And after eating lunch, one time I said, "Oh, what would you like for dinner?" And he said, "I can't think about that now. I've just eaten lunch. My stomach is full. I can't think about the next meal. So that's very true. So Vedic culture like that keeps everyone with a full stomach. So you've got everything your body needs. So then you can think, well, who am I? Aham brahmasmi. And then it's Bhagavad Krishna.
Is that true? When you are in love, whether human love or Krishna love, you're losing your appetite. You don't feel hungry. Is that true?
I don't know. You tell me.
Whenever you are in love, it's love fulfills you in your stomach. Everything is fills you that you do eat that. Okay, time for the lunch, but you don't really feel like, yes, I'm gonna eat that. You would not be thinking for the food if you are deeply in love with the Krishna or any human, anything. Love has got so much power. It
Yeah, well,
fills you.
the mind is only focusing on one thing at a time. So if the mind is captivated by either lust for the opposite sex or love for God, then yeah, it's not going to be thinking about other things, you know. It's not going to be thinking about other things. So
It's you go where your mind takes you. Yeah. So is that
yeah,
right?
so if your mind is thinking about the opposite sex or God or whatever the object is, you're not going to be thinking about food or whatever, you know. So you're only thinking about one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But it has to be a very powerful object of attraction, because the mind has a nature of chanchala, as Arjuna says right in the 6th chapter. Chanchala hi manah Krishna. You know, so the mind is chanchala, flickering. It's going from one thing to the next. You know, like you're thinking about food, and then you eat, and then like I said, it's not going to be thinking about food anymore. Then it jumps to something else. Then it's got to think about, oh, I need to make $100. And then you make $100, it's not going to be thinking about it anymore. Then it jumps to, oh, she looks nice, he looks good, you know. Then it jumps to something else, and then, oh, you get that, and then it jumps to something else. So it's like a monkey, you know. It's always going here and there. But if the mind gets latched onto Krishna, because Krishna means all attractive, right? Then the mind doesn't leave that. Because the object of Krishna is just so beautiful, right? He, like, you know, what is, you know, Bhagavan, 6 opulences, right? So he's unlimitedly beautiful. So your mind gets latched onto this unlimitedly beautiful person, Krishna. It doesn't leave. You know, or he's unlimitedly rich. You know, why is your mind going to jump to Bill Gates, who's only got a few billion, if it's got to Krishna, who's got everything? He's got all the wealth, you know, or, you know, unlimited strength. You know, it's not going to jump to Arnold Schwarzenegger, because Krishna lifts mountains with his little finger of his left hand, you know. So, and unlimited fame, unlimited, you know, detachment, all these things, unlimited knowledge, like that. So Krishna is the only one that can capture the mind, and then the mind won't leave. And that's why one of Krishna's names is Manohara. Manohara. Mana means mind. Hara means stealing. So he steals your mind. He steals away your mind. Rupa Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis, followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's one verse he wrote saying, if you're attached to material friendship, family, and love, you know, society, friendships, you know, friendship, society, and love, then he says, if you're attached to those things, friendship, society, and love, then he says, don't go to the bank of the Yamuna at Vamshivat. There's one place in Vrindavan called Vamshivat where Krishna would play his flute, standing on the bank of the Yamuna. The saying, don't go. If you're attached to mundane friendship, society, and love, don't go to the bank of the Yamuna at Vamshivat. Because if you do, you might see a beautiful blue boy playing flute, and you'll never leave. And you'll never leave. You'll never go back to your silly society and your silly friendships and your silly love. You know, you won't go back, you know. So it's saying, it's telling you something in a negative way. But you get it. It's actually a very positive thing, but it's presented in a negative way. I can say, you know, do go to Vrindavan, or don't go to Vrindavan if you're attached to your materialistic life. Don't go. But it's the same thing, but presented in the opposite language like that.
It's
so
reverse psychology, you know.
reverse psychology. That's a scientific word for it. Reverse psychology.
Just hold for 1 minute, please.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
be back in a second.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, Rupa Goswami, he's the original reverse psychologist. He's the original reverse psychologist. It's amazing, you know, Vedic culture is so beautiful. It's so profound. It leaves all of our Western, ideas for dead. It's just so pathetic. We think we're so advanced in the West, but we're just so far behind. It's like not funny. It's not funny. We're so primitive. We're like barbarians. In the West, we're like, I was just saying, Gulshan,
Yeah.
Vedic culture, they're so highly advanced, this civilization. Like Rupa Goswami's philosophy is just over the head of anyone else. No one else can present the philosophy the way that these Vaishnava acharyas can. We're like barbarians, compared to them. It's just like so uncultured, uncivilized.
But it's amazing.
One time, what's that?
Oh no, but it's amazing then how the Western culture has captivated the whole world.
Yeah.
And I call it like this advertising with glitz and glamour, and just made it look so glamorous.
Yeah, that's Maya. That's Maya is so powerful.
Yeah.
Maya can captivate us.
It'll be only spiritual point of. It's not on the spiritual point of view, only material point of. If you look at that, it's a material point, not spiritual. Spiritual point, there's zero.
But the thing is, the whole world is just trying to emulate, the West, and they've let go of the spiritual aspect.
Yeah, it's like anyone from India. It's like you had a jewel in your hand. Like imagine a diamond that big, and you just dropped it in the rubbish, and you picked up a piece of broken glass. It's like that, Anyone that comes from Indian culture that's running after the West is like that. You had a jewel, a massive diamond, and you threw it away and just picked up a broken glass. And what happens if you get broken glass?
Western people can see, but India can't see. We can't see that. From India, a lot of people come from India for the money, whether they go to America, Canada, or UK or something like that. It's only Western people can see, but we can't see. Because
you see, the Westerners, we've already been holding the broken glass for so long.
Yeah.
We know we're just getting chopped up. We're just getting cut up, So, but the Indians don't know that. They're just at the point where they're dropping the diamond. They haven't grabbed the glass yet.
I was looking that Radhanath Maharaj dropped everything, a comfortable life, decent country, everything. He dropped everything and coming to India for all losing his comfort. Indian people leaving all this jewel, going for the comfort life in America.
Yeah. But just to give you an indication about the difference, that one time Prabhupada was talking with his personal servant, and he'd just been eating, and he hadn't cleaned up after eating, and the servant put his hand on his leg, which he had a dhoti on, I suppose. So he put his hand on this, was touching his dhoti. And Prabhupada looked at him in complete disgust and said, "You malecha." Malecha is a very derogatory term. It means very unclean person. Like a meat eater is also called a malecha. A cow eater is called a malecha. But also an unclean person is called a malecha. Another derogatory term is called yavana. So either if you're not following the Vedic culture, if persons that don't follow the Vedic culture, they were either called malechas or yavanas. And very uncivilized, unclean, and like that. So Prabhupada said to his servant in great disgust, he said, "You malecha." and the servant said, "Oh, but Prabhupada, I was eating with a spoon." So he was thinking, because I didn't put my hands on my mouth, my hand's still clean. But see, their culture is so highly advanced. It doesn't matter that your hand didn't touch your mouth, but the spoon touched your mouth and your hand touched the spoon. Do you get it?
Wow. Okay.
The spoon was in your dirty mouth and you held the spoon, which was in your dirty mouth. So your hand is dirty. It's not clean. We think because my hand didn't physically touch my face that it's clean, but no, because it was touching something that was dirty. So that's how highly advanced, but we can't register that, right? But no, I didn't put my hand in my mouth. It's still clean. It's not clean though, because subtly it's contaminated. So very subtly, the hand is actually contaminated like that. So like those that are trained up, like to be a pujari or whatever, they would never do that, and we were taught as brahmacharis also all these kind of things, which was revolutionary for us, because we never thought about, we never even considered what's clean and what's not, what's clean and what's not clean. I was in shock the other day. I saw one of my Facebook friends, who we both have an interest in gardening, this Kiwi guy, New Zealander, and he was promoting that for your health, it's really good to eat dog poo.
Oh no.
which also added to that your own urine. So your own urine and dog poo, and he was saying if you eat that, you're never going to get sick.
Oh, you
I
die
was like,
straight
oh my
off.
God, this is it. I was thinking, you're a good soul. You're a good soul, but you're lost, mate. You're completely, lost off the planet. You just,
You won't fall sick. You won't fall sick because you die straight off.
You'll probably die, so you never get sick again because you'll be dead. So it's so infectious. The stool of a dog is said, according to the Vedas, the stool of a dog is one of the most contaminated. Because I know, because we have a dog. So I see what he does, and
after you're thinking.
because he licks his backside, he licks his backside and his genitals and everything like that, and he licks up all crap off the road and everything. So there's no way in hell I would ever let him put a foot in our house, because we have a dog, but he never is allowed in the house because he's so dirty. So what to speak of the stool of a dog is like so contaminated. But people are so stupid. I've seen Westerners, right? They're licking an ice cream, and then they give it to their dog to lick.
Oh, yeah.
And then they take it back and have another lick, and then they let the dog lick. And I was going, oh my God, this is malicious and Yavanas. Oh my God, they're so degraded. But yeah, in the West, we think there's no problem. We think it's all good. Like that, we have no common sense, of what's right and what's wrong, what's beneficial, what's not beneficial.
Thank God Bhaktimala is not here, otherwise she get offended.
Oh no.
No, there's different standards like that. But like I said, so and the West, it's difficult because we haven't got it all sorted out. We haven't made an arrangement for all the young ladies to get a partner and be peaceful and everything. So I feel sorry that in the Western society, people are very, very frustrated in their basic needs. Their basic needs are not met. So I don't blame anyone because they're just in chaos. And that's why one of the reasons why Prabhupada came with this beautiful Vedic culture, to try to help us get out of our chaos, that we're suffering so much, in this chaos that's been created, and he's given us the remedy, the panacea for all of our problems, and the ultimate panacea is chanting Hare Krishna. But all these little cultural things can all help us, and the ultimate help is from chanting the holy name. Even if someone does eat the dog shit, but if they chant Hare Krishna, then they can get, when they die of their food poisoning, they can go back to Godhead, if they chant Hare Krishna. I'll tell you what, that guy, that even though, his food habits are very horrible, but he loves Hare Krishna because especially how it started out is because we distributed free prasadam to thousands of people in Wellington during the protests there. And he was one of them, like that. And he loves us because we did that, and he loves our prasadam. So because he's not getting nice halava now he's eating dog poo, so that's the problem. We have to distribute prasadam, very profusely. If people don't get the higher taste, then what will they take? You have to taste something, you'll get the lower taste, right? So that's the thing, so very important. We need to, on a big scale, distribute lots of prasadam and the holy name. People have to hear, and Prabhupada's books. And that's the only way to counteract all these problems. Otherwise, people are lost, completely lost. They don't know what to eat, you know. They don't know what to talk about. They don't know what to hear about, you know. So everything they're doing is completely upside down, you know. So we have to, you know, devotees have to mix with people and reach out and show them the right things, you know, like that. So food for thought. Yeah, interesting things. We hadn't planned any of that, but that was some interesting topics there.
Impromptu is good.
Yeah, spontaneous. Okay, I'm just going to turn the light on because that's the nature of the material world, right? You know what the nature of the material world is? Dark.
Ignorance, yes.
Darkness of ignorance, like that. So we have to bring in the light of Krishna.
Oh, wow.
There's a saying that, what's that?
Light, camera, action.
Yes. There's one verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita in Bengali saying, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andakar Yahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Maya Adhikar. It said that Krishna Surya Sama. So Krishna is just like or equal to Surya, to the sun. Maya Haya Andakar. And Maya, this illusory energy, is just like the Anta, means darkness. So Krishna is like the sun and Maya is like darkness. And then it says, Yahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Maya Adhikar. That wherever there is the Krishna, there cannot be any Maya. Do you get it? Just like whenever the sun is in the sky, there cannot be darkness. Impossible. You can't have darkness and the sun at the same time. Either there's sun and there's no darkness, or there's darkness and there's no sun. But you can't have sun and darkness. Not possible. So if Krishna's there can't be any darkness of Maya. There can't be any Maya. And if Krishna's not there, guaranteed, what's left? Maya. Maya, must be Maya. Now, if Krishna's not there, then must be Maya. So the way to keep Maya away is to always keep Krishna there. And that's why we always want to be Krishna conscious, you know. So either you're talking about Krishna like what we're doing, you're hearing about Krishna like what we're doing, you know, you're remembering Krishna, you're worshipping Krishna, doing an arati or whatever like that, you're offering food to Krishna like that, and you're offering prayers to Krishna. Krishna, please save me from Maya, please engage me in your service. And like Prabhupada said, the Hare Krishna mantra is a prayer to Krishna. Oh Hare Radha, please energy of the Lord. Oh Krishna, please engage me in your service and protect me from Maya. So Prabhupada said it's a prayer. This Hare Krishna mantra is a prayer like that. So, and then, you know, make friendship with Krishna, surrender everything to Krishna. So like these nine processes, always keep that in our daily routine. We do, at one point we're chanting, then we do some reading, then we do some worshipping, then we do some praying like that. Then you do some, you know, preach to people, and, you know, somehow or other always keep, you know, the Krishna sun in our life, and then Maya won't be victimizing us. That's the thing, very important. Yeah, you could see, you know, if you read about the early days of ISKCON when Prabhupada was there, he always kept the devotees super busy. There was no time for Maya. And the devotees said that, the early devotees said that. He said that they would say that it's not that we weren't attracted to Maya, because they were young boys, young girls. So still there might have been some sex desire there. There might have been some desire to get money and so forth like that. But they said that Prabhupada kept us so busy in Krishna's service that there was no time for Maya. And that's perfect, right? No time for Maya, you know, to always keep busy in Krishna consciousness. And that was one wonderful ability that Prabhupada had. He knew how to engage everyone in Krishna's service, you know. If you're an artist, he would engage you in painting for Krishna. If you're a cook, he would engage you in cooking for Krishna. If you were good at making money, he would get you to make money for Krishna, you know, like that. There was one devotee named Garga Muni. Actually, Prabhupada named him Garga Money. because he was so good at getting money. He would bring in a whole briefcase full of cash and dump it on Prabhupada's desk and open up the briefcase, and it's like full of notes. He would just be so good at collecting money one way or another.
Sounds like money laundering.
Well, he started up ISKCON's first incense business, and that was Spiritual Sky. So I don't know if you've ever seen Spiritual Sky incense. I've seen it in New Zealand, but he started that in America, Spiritual Sky, and they made big money from making incense and selling incense. But also he would sell, like encyclopedias of Prabhupada's books to universities and things like that. He was expert at organizing all these things. So like that, Prabhupada would see what is the particular gift that you have, the skill, the ability that you have, and he would engage that in Krishna's service to the maximum. So you'd be so busy in Krishna's service. One time Prabhupada created a marathon because the devotees were behind him in printing the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the books about Lord Chaitanya. He was about 9 volumes ahead of the printing of the books. So he was very upset. He said, I'm working so hard to give you these books, but you're not keeping up with me and printing them. So he said, you have to print the remaining 9 volumes in 3 months. And all the devotees said, that's impossible. Because what they had been doing was printing, I think, one volume in 3 months or something. And he wanted all 9 volumes in 3 months. And they said, that's impossible. Prabhupada said, no, there's no such word as impossible. Because, right, if Krishna wants something, right, anything can happen. I mean, Krishna can lift mountains and whatever. You just have to try. So the devotees went on a marathon. Like one devotee would be, an artist would be painting and would, be doing a painting for the books, because he had heaps of pictures in the books, doing a painting. And they would paint till when they fell asleep. So when they fell asleep, the devotees would pull them away. They'd pull them away from the painting and the next one would start painting on the same painting. An artist never does that. Have you ever seen that one painting is done by more than one artist?
No.
No, because then where is your recognition that this is your painting? But see, this in Krishna consciousness, it's not about this is my service or my, result or my work or whatever. You're just a humble servant. And even some of the paintings, they had more than one artist working on at the same time. So the left-hand bottom corner, someone's painting, and the top right-hand corner, someone's painting. I mean, you never do that, outside of Krishna consciousness, because, like I said, you want the recognition. This is my work of art. What's some famous artists? What's some famous artists?
Michelangelo.
Yeah, Michelangelo, it's not like you don't see Michelangelo and, some other fella. No way, he's not going to share the glory, the credit with anyone else. But here in this case, it wasn't like that. He fell asleep. Okay, let's push him aside. And the next one takes over. It was all about, we had to please Prabhupada. No one cared about, this is my painting. Everyone cared about, we have to please Prabhupada. Prabhupada wants this done. Well, somehow or other, we have to get it done. And they actually did it. They printed all 9 books in 3 months. Prabhupada was in so much bliss. He said, I guarantee that anyone that took part in this marathon, that at the end of this life, they will go back home, back to Godhead.
Oh, wow.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
That's it.
Goodness,
Mission over.
nice.
Nothing else.
Yes.
The promise of the pure devotee must come true. because Krishna guarantees. Krishna says, sometimes I break my promise, but if my devotee
not
makes a
from-
promise, that will be done. I will make sure it happens. Isn't it?
Yes.
Wow.
That's amazing. So it was worth it, worth the marathon,
We
We
missed
do
that,
some-
Gulshan.
We do our, materialistic marathons, when we're at university, right? We do our marathon to study for exams. Then we do our marathons, slaving our backside for some stupid boss at work or whatever.
It's a Abhay Prabhu will say, if you finish this Gita class, Deepa, you definitely will go Krishna Loka, guarantee. So you have to finish all the Gita, whether it takes 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. After finishing that, guarantee from Abhay Prabhu, and he's the devotee.
At the speed I go, it'll be at least another 10 years.
Okay.
And if you can
No
complete
rush.
that, definitely you'll go back to Godhead after hearing
I'm
Bhagavad
not
Gita for
ready
10
to
years.
die.
So you can't die before 10 years. Yeah. So yeah, you got at least that long. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, so let's read something now so we can get a bit further. Okay, let's offer respect to Prabhupada in the introduction. Om Jnanatamandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, so my spiritual master has kindly opened my eyes with a tiny torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances under his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, so we're continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita from the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Knowledge of the Absolute. Text number 18, right?
Yeah.
18. Yeah. Yep. So last week we were talking about, so Krishna, in this section, Krishna was explaining 4 kinds of sinful persons that don't surrender to God. And then he explained 4 kinds of pious persons that do surrender to God. Gulshan, do you remember what the 4 kinds of pious people are?
The one with the those who are come to the Krishna consciousness, they are people, like one with the inquisitive, and one those who come for someone for the suffering, for the
Suffering,
and one for the wealth.
Well, yes. Well,
inquisitive, and the 4th one is also looking for a truth.
Yeah, looking for the truth, the Jnani. Yeah, so 4 kinds of people, pious people, that if they're in distress or looking for wealth, inquisitive, or searching for the truth, then they surrender to God. And then the verse we read last week says, of those 4 pious people, the best one is the Jnani. The best one is the Jnani, one that is searching for knowledge, searching for the truth. And the reason why, Prabhupada explains why he is the best, why the Jnani is better than the other 3, is because it says in the purport, the 3rd line down, 4th line down, he who is in knowledge of, this is in text 17, he who is in knowledge of the absolute truth and free from all material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. So that's the benefit there of having knowledge. If you have knowledge, it gives you more opportunity to kick out the material desires. Because let's look at it a different way, the other way around. Why do we have so many material desires? If I get a beautiful woman, I'll be happy. If I become a millionaire, I'll be happy. If I become CEO of this business, I'll be happy. So why do we have all these desires? Where do they come from? Where do all these desires come from? What are they based on?
Is it because Krishna has everything that we want, that he also? have such desires? No?
What? Because of Krishna, we have such no.
No,
It's
no,
not
no,
because of
no.
Krishna. That we have,
Not because
no?
of Krishna, but because he is so opulent in every way, and we
Yeah.
are a speck of his essence, as in our soul, that it, yeah, I don't know, is that something like that, where we endeavor to satisfy our soul, that because he's got so much that we also aspire for something like that?
Well, I mean,
Okay.
I see part of what you're saying. I mean, because
Yeah.
Krishna is a person, he has desires.
Mm.
So we're part of Krishna, so we also have desires. But see, where we've gone wrong is we're misusing our free choice. We're misusing our free choice. So we're thinking that if I get the money or the partner or the house or the whatever, fame or whatever, I'm going to be happy. But is that a fact? The real thing, the only that can make us happy is if we get Krishna. You know, if we have Krishna, then we'll be happy. But we're thinking something other than Krishna will make us happy. We're thinking the money will make us happy or the partner will make us happy or whatever like that. But what is that based on? That we have that desire that to get this material object, thinking the material object is going to make us happy. But what's the premise that desire is based on? Is that the reality? Is a material thing in the past, has a material thing made anyone happy? In the present, has a material thing made anyone happy? In the future, is any amount of material things going to make someone happy? Have we seen that? Have you ever seen that? So why do we think like that? What is it based on?
What?
I'll give you a clue. It starts with I.
Ignorance.
Ignorance. It's ignorance. That's ignorance. So, see, material desires are based on ignorance, and that's what Maya. You know, that is covering us, covering our knowledge. You know, Maya is covering our knowledge and making us ignorant, right? So, but what's the opposite to ignorance?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. That's why knowledge is the best. Someone that has knowledge is the best. If he has knowledge, then he knows that none of these material things is going to make me happy. That I have to search for God, because God is the only one that can make me happy. So he doesn't search for a woman in a house by the sea and, you know, ice creams and lollipops and everything, because he knows that none of these things can make me happy. Only God can make me happy. So he's searching for God. So that's why Krishna is saying that the jnani, the person knowledge, is the best of all those different categories, because they're not going to have so many material desires. And like he's saying, they become a really pure devotee. Because you've got different levels of devotee, right? Kanista adhikari means neophyte, just starting out. You've got heaps of material desires, but you're just putting your foot on the path of bhakti, you know, and then madhyamadikari, middle class, and uttamadikari, top class. So, but if you have that knowledge, you can become the uttamadikari, you know, you can become first class, pure devotee. Another name is Bhagavad, you know, very great, you know, devotee of the Lord. So that becomes more realistic that will take place. You become really pure devotee.
And another thing there, if you notice that it's the basic nature, whatever you got, you spread. Whatever, whether it's a love, money, hatred. If you have got knowledge, you spread. Isn't it? When you spread, Krishna is happy. Because Krishna says that, you know, whoever glorifies my name, he'll be the more dear to me. So he's the one doing. If you got knowledge, you're gonna spread. You're not gonna keep to yourself. 100%.
Definitely.
If you got money or if you got love, you're not gonna keep to yourself. It definitely spread. It's a basic nature. So once you got knowledge, you spread. You spread, Krishna's happy.
Yeah. Definitely. No, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. And that attracts Krishna's mercy, is certainly not only You become a devotee, Krishna will be very pleased. But you're helping other people to become devotees. You spread it, and Krishna's going to be even more pleased. And you get blessings, because that's a very important part of bhakti. It's not just by my endeavor, just that I'm getting more knowledge and more knowledge. It's all about me getting more knowledge. But no, Krishna's mercy is required. That's very important. And in the higher realms of knowledge, you can't actually get that yourself. It's given to you. Krishna's pleased by your service. When Krishna's pleased by your service, then that knowledge he gives to you from within your heart. From within the heart, the Paramatma, the Super Soul enlightens us. And like, for example, Gulshan, what is your spiritual form in Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world? Who are you? What is your name and your form in the spiritual world? Can you find that in any book?
No name. I'm a soul. Soul has got no name.
No, that's not true. You do have a name. In the spiritual world, you have a name. Hey, there's some background noise. There's some background noise. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Some scratchy kind of noise. I don't know what it is. Maybe there's a loose connection there on someone's device or something.
No.
Anyway, it's better now. I still do a little bit. Anyway, it's all right.
Yeah, it's in the spiritual world, I'm just a soul. And soul has got no name. Yeah, this
No. I disagree. The scriptures disagree.
Convince me.
Yeah, well, like in the spiritual world, there is Yashoda. That's a name. Krishna's mother, Yashoda. There is Nanda Baba. So that's Krishna's father, has a name. There is Lalita. That's the Gopi, one of Radharani's confidential maidservants, Lalita. And then there's Vishaka, another one. Like Radharani has these 8 main Sakis. Lalita, Vishaka, Champakalata. I can't even remember them all. There's so many. Actually, as you know, all this 108 mala, right? The 108 beads on our mala, is actually they represent one group of gopis, cowherd girls, 108 gopis. And some of the malas, they have a string after 8 of them. After the first 8, there's a little string tied to there. I don't know, some of your beads might have that. Why is that string tied after 8? Because that 8 is the 8 main Sakis, the 8 main gopis. Lalita, Vishaka, Champakalata, like that. Those 8 main ones. And then the next group is 108. So the one of the main groups is 8, and then 108. But of the 8, 2 are even two of the gopis are the best gopis. It's one is Radharani. So Radharani is one of the 8, and then hey Jayanti, what's the name of Radharani's rival? Oh yeah, Chandravali. Chandravali, she is also very dear to Krishna, but Radharani is the most dear. So Radharani is number 1, Chandravali is number 2, but then there's another 6 of the group of 8. Like that. So there's all these different levels of gopis and how dear they are to Krishna and that. But they all have names and they have different features. Like one of the gopis wears blue saris, and one of the gopis wears a red sari, and one of them wears a yellow sari. And and they have, one of them has shark-shaped earrings or whatever, and one of them has a ring in their nostril, like that. So they all have unique features because they're persons, and persons have obviously a form, and they have a name, and they have qualities, and like Chandravali, her nature, that's the 2 main ones, right? So one is Radharani, one Chandravali. Chandravali's nature is completely opposite to Radharani's. Chandravali is very submissive. Whatever Krishna says, yes, Krishna, I will do. But Radharani's nature, she's the opposite nature. Sometimes she'll argue with Krishna. And Krishna enjoys that. Krishna enjoys. She has this emotion. Radharani has this emotional state called man. Man means sometimes she gets angry at Krishna, and she, what do you call it? Sulking. She goes like into a sulking mode, and when she's very angry, she goes a sulking mode, and she doesn't want to, do what Krishna wants and go to Krishna, whatever. So she'll just go to her particular kunja, her forest grove, next to the Yamuna, and she'll be sulking in there. And Krishna will have to go there to and fall down at her feet and try to pacify her. Oh, Radharani, I'm sorry I said that to you. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings and like that. So, and Krishna enjoys that. If just everyone is submissive, yes, Krishna, I will do what you order. Then it's like boring for Krishna. So Krishna enjoys that variety like that.
Well, that sounds like a lot of us now, isn't it?
I think
everyone.
my wife Jayanti, she's in that Radharani camp, and the ones that get angry and
it's true that if you watch any movie, if there's no villain, there's no good, no enjoyable, everything.
Boring
Okay,
movie.
villain has to be there to make a movie exciting.
Yeah. And recently, of course, we celebrated Nrsimhadev. And where did that whole pastime come from? Where it came from, Krishna wanted to fight with someone. But there's no one strong enough in the material to fight with. So he had to arrange that two of his very powerful devotees, Jai and Vijay, doorkeepers from Vaikuntha, were cursed by the four Kumaras, fell down to the material world. In the mood of demons, they're fully thinking they're asuras, and they're fighting with Krishna. Hiranyaksha, Varahadev fought with Hiranyaksha, Nrsimhadev fought with Hiranyakashipu, and Krishna was enjoying that fighting. So, Krishna enjoys those different flavors.
It's if there's no Ramayana, there's no Ravan in Ramayana, nobody will read or nobody will know.
Ramayana is such an exciting epic.
Raman is gotta be there in Ramayana, otherwise it's not joyful read.
Yeah. So where this all came from, we're talking about the Jnani. So that's why the Jnani is regarded by Krishna as the best. I mean, at the point of being a Jnani, just having a lot of knowledge, it means they're not a pure devotee, but there's a good chance that the Jnani can become a really pure devotee if he takes the devotional service. So these are four categories before they've surrendered, before they've surrendered and they're engaging in devotional service. There are four different categories. So one has a lot of knowledge, and the benefit of having a lot of knowledge is that you realize that material things can't make me happy, and that sinful activities is going to lead to suffering. So the Jnani doesn't do any sinful activities because he knows they lead to suffering, and he does only pious activities, which bring him a lot of happiness. He only does pious activities, and it brings him a lot of happiness. And he knows that, temporary material things is not the real goal of life, that we have to search for some long-term happiness, some spiritual happiness, which is eternal. So he's looking for the eternal happiness. And that's, if you've got a brain, anyone with a brain, what do you want? You want happiness that lasts for a very short time, like smoking a cigarette, or do you want happiness that lasts for a very long time?
Long time.
Yeah, obviously. But most people are ignorant, right? So what do they choose? They choose the cigarette. What do you get from a cigarette? You get short-time happiness and long-time suffering, right? Because on the packet, what does it say on the packet?
Yeah, this health.
It's got a whole lot of pictures, right? On one packet, it'll show you your eyeballs are all ruined. Another packet, it shows what it does to your throat, rips out your throat. Another packet shows it just screws up your lungs, and basically all of the packets telling you it's going to kill you, mate. But no, I just want that half an hour of a high. I just want to be on a high for half an hour, and it makes me forget that I'm suffering for half an hour. But of course, it doesn't take away your suffering, and in case, the opposite, it causes you more suffering. because it's going to, you know, destroy the body quicker, like that. So most people, they're ignorant, right? So they just take to the short time happiness and long time suffering. But actually, what best is that have the short term suffering and the long time happiness. So what I'm saying is, you can't get to the long time happiness. This is very important. You can't get to the long time happiness without some short term suffering. And what do you call that short time suffering in the Vedic culture? I'll give you a clue. It starts with T. Tapasya. Tapa. Tapasya. You have to do some austerity. Austerity means suffering.
The farm, when get up 4 in the morning in the farm when 0-degree temperature.
Yeah, that's tapasya.
Whenever I stay in the farm, Mangal Aarti, must go there, get up 4 in the morning, 3:15 get a shower. One day, we did not have water. And at that 3:45, no water. How can I shower? I need to go to Mangal Aarti. So I went outside. I was in the green building. I went outside. There was a big tank. And there was a hose going there. I pulled and water coming out. And then I filled the bucket with it. And get a little bit of just a mug or something, and just had a shower on the grass. But that was at 4 in the morning. Nobody seen me naked over there. It's just like maybe
except the cows.
See that, who cares? And I quickly just wiped myself and rushed to the temple.
No, that's very good. That's very good.
I got no other choice. What can I do?
I know. So these kind of things, this is, I mean, it's some difficulty is there, some suffering is there, but it's leading to the long time happiness. That's the thing. It's leading. Krishna's seeing that Gulshan is going through all these difficulties to try to come to my Mangalarti, and you get all the ashirvad, all the blessings.
I can't call wine at 4 o'clock. I do. I can't call any maintenance guy. It's 4 o'clock. I said, well, there you go. So if there is a will, there is a way.
Yeah. Oh. So that's a very important part of Vedic culture is you have to do some austerities. I mean, you don't have to, because that's what tapasya means. It's voluntary. So you don't have to, but if you want to get the long time happiness, you do have to take on some involuntary suffering. You do. You can't do it.
Tapasya means if you take voluntarily, happily, that's tapasya. If you keep complaining inside you, 4 o'clock, why did I put me in the roster on the Mangalati? Let me have more sleep. Anyway, I'm in the roster. I need to go. That's not tapasya. You keep complaining that. You have to do happily.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, you know, that a devotee will be thinking, oh, I just want to see Krishna when he wakes up in the morning for Mangalarti. You don't care about the cold water or it's cold outside or whatever like that. You're so happy, you know, to be engaged in Krishna's service like that. And I remember when I first joined in the temple in 93, it was also very cold in Auckland. It's very cold in the winter. When I joined, it was just in the winter. That was the time of year. And one of my services was going out early in the morning before dawn and picking flowers.
Oh, okay.
And it was very cold. I remember my fingers would turn blue. My fingers were turning blue from picking the flower. And you can't wear gloves because you need to just be able to grab the flowers. So you can't put any gloves on. But my fingers, and I was even more skinny then. So yeah, I feel the cold a lot. But yeah, it was difficult, but you feel so happy that you're picking the flowers for Krishna.
Yes.
You're picking the flowers for Krishna. Like I remember the very first service I've had, which I've told you before, was washing pots. And I still remember to this day, you know, 30 years later, the devotee, the way he said it. These are not ordinary pots. These are God's pots. And I went like, wow. And all my hairs were like standing up when he said these are like God's pots. And it was just so amazing, you know. And he said, when you clean the black off the bottom of the pot, you're cleaning all the black from your heart. And I thought, wow, let me at it. I have to do this. And it was just so good, you know, because that's what makes the difference is that knowledge. You know, if you normally, like, we hate to wash the pots, right? Because we say, oh, it's just my pots, you know, my pots, and you know, I hate washing my pots and everything. But you think about it a different way. These are God's pots, you know, and it's a very rare opportunity to have to get the chance. It's a once in a lifetime chance, golden opportunity to clean God's pots. And it's like the demigods would be lining up. They'd be fighting over the chance to, you know, do something, you know, for God like that. You know, so it's just having that knowledge completely changes the experience. Because in one sense, it's the same pot. But if you think about it materially, material consciousness, oh, that's just my pot, you know, I can't, I just want to watch TV. I don't want to clean the stupid pot, you know. But if you think about it in Krishna consciousness, it's just a whole different paradigm. So it's just changing the paradigm, looking at life in a completely different way. You know, looking at it in a different way. So that's Krishna consciousness, is looking at life in a different way, seeing everything connected to Krishna, and it just makes everything so ecstatic, like that. That's what we're trying to develop. Okay, let's look at this verse, text 18. Let's read it and discuss about it. Udarasa evaite.
The back.
Hey?
It's a sound, the clicking sound, like it's a crushing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's mysterious. There's always some obstacles, right? This is the tapasya. Okay. Udara sarva evaite.
Udra sarva
Yani tvat maiva me matam.
yani vatva me matvam.
So what you do, you join the T onto the first word. So yanit, and you join the V onto the next word, atmaiva. So you say yanit vatmaiva me matam, like that.
Yani
Yanitvatmaiva me matam.
Yeah. Yanit vatmaiva me matam. Then it flows better. Okay. Ashtita sahiyuktatma.
Ashita yukatma.
Mam eva numatam gatim.
Mam eva muttamam gatim.
I'll do that again. I think I mucked it up. Mam eva nu. Let's do it again. Astita sahiyuktatma.
Astita sahi yuktatma.
Mam eva nutamam gatim.
Mam eva muttamam gatim.
Yeah. Eva nutamam gatim. Okay. Deepa, would you like to read the English translation?
All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. Wow.
Very interesting.
It just
Oh, yeah.
sounds too easy, isn't it? It sounds a little bit easy.
It is easy, not only sound, it is easy. In Kali Yuga,
Yeah.
it's getting so easy.
Yeah.
Devata is coming to Kali Yuga to getting this prapti. Sat Yuga, Treta Yuga, oh, very tough. Kali Yuga, very easy. Prabhupada says, within a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
You know, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he's made it very easy.
Yes.
At this time, when Krishna's speaking this 5,000 years ago, yeah, it wasn't so easy, but it's become more easy since then.
Yeah.
Due to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here Krishna's saying that he's just said that the Jnani is the Jnani is the best. But then he's saying, just to reassure the other ones, don't feel bad, you guys, to the other three, right?
Yeah.
So he said, and in 17 he says the Jnani is the best of the four. But then in 18 he's saying, oh, don't worry, the rest of you guys in the other three categories, you're all still good people. You're all magnanimous. So you're all still good people. Udara means magnanimous. So it means you're very, very elevated, very broad-hearted, very big-hearted. So you're still very good souls. You're still very good souls, the other three categories. But then he's saying, so it's interesting because he's going back to saying that the Jnani is the best again. So he said the Jnani is the best in 17. Then he said, oh, you other three categories, don't worry, you're still all good souls. But then again he's saying in the second part of this verse that the Jnani is the best. So yeah. So and he's what he says is far out. But he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. That is a powerful statement.
Mm.
Whoever has knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. And then he's explaining a little bit about what does that mean? Just like the Jnani is just like my own self. Is saying, because this is what the Jnani does. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. So the idea is why Krishna is saying the Jnani's, he's on the same level as me. He's on the same, just like my own self, right? Just like my own self, right? The Jnani is just like my own self. So Krishna is transcendental. So the Jnani is also just like myself, transcendental. So how is that possible? Because that Jnani, because he has full knowledge, he realizes that there's nothing other than Krishna. All this material stuff is just Maya, it's illusion. There's no substance in it. There's no, like the Sanskrit word for that is called vastu. Like the knowledge about construction and building houses in Vedic culture is called Vastu Shastra. Have you heard about that before, Vastu?
Yes.
Like the knowledge about health is called Ayurveda, right? But the knowledge about how to build your house and which direction to put it and what's the best slope to have your property and where to have the water and everything and where you should build your kitchen and where do you have your puja room, all this kind of knowledge is called Vastu. Vastu means that Vastu is like the substance. Vastu is a substance. Just like you could say, it's like, what is the substance? Like the earth is what holds up your house and everything, right? You need some substance. You can't put a house on air. It has to be on the earth. So it's something solid. So Vastu means like that. It's like solid, it's substance. So the Jnani realizes that the real substance, the only reality in the material world is Krishna. Everything else is illusion. Nothing else has any real substance. It's all just Prabhupada uses the word phantasmagoria, or we say also will-o'-the-wisp. The will-o'-the-wisp, or we say phantasmagoria. It's just like it's not real. Like there's a saying about seeing a flower in the sky. But that's just like a dream, there's no flower. Has there ever been a flower growing in the sky? No. But if you think you see a flower in the sky, but that's an illusion, it's not real. So the Jnani realizes that the only real truth, the substance is God, is Krishna. So therefore I'm going to engage in a service. So we'll look at it. We'll look at a couple of verses where Krishna talks about that, had the importance of having knowledge. So I think it's actually the very next verse. So Prabhupada's really hammering it here. So I know it's the next verse. We'll just skip to this, but we'll talk about it next time we talk. Gulshan, do you want to read that?
Yeah. After many births and a death, he who is actually in knowledge surrender unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is, such a great soul is very rare.
So how the steps take place, you know, you slowly, the soul takes birth after birth in the material. You get some more knowledge, you know, birth number 100, you've got, you know, 10% knowledge. Birth 101, you got 11% knowledge. Birth 102, you got 12% knowledge. You get the idea. Birth 300,
Yeah.
you've got 40% knowledge. Birth 900, you've got 88% knowledge. You know, like, so slowly you get what he's saying here. You get slowly get more after many births and death, slowly getting more knowledge. When you get full knowledge, when your knowledge becomes full, then what happens? Then you surrender. So that's what I said. When you have full knowledge, you, at that point, when you have full knowledge, there's no more ignorance in your consciousness. You realize there's nothing other than God. Therefore, I should surrender. There's nothing except for God. Then I should surrender. So it's saying here, know me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. So actually in knowledge, surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So the knowledge is slowly building up as the soul is going life after life. And then when the knowledge is complete, then we surrender. And when you surrender, then devotional service begins. So devotional service begins after you surrender. Do you get that? So first you surrender to Krishna. Okay, you're my master, you're my Lord, I'm your servant. Until you realize that, you can't do bhakti, can you? How can you serve Krishna if you haven't accepted the fact that you're the servant and he's the boss? He's the master, and you're the servant. Then you're going to start service. How can you serve a person before you accept them as the master? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you're serving the person, means you have accepted them as a master. Does that make sense? You can understand that that must be there, right? You're serving someone after you've accepted the fact that they're your master. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Of course, in the material world, not necessarily you love your master, but the master is the one that pays us, right? So we serve them, but see, you've accepted them as your master, but it's not like a loving kind of master. It's just because, oh, my boss pays me, so I'm surrendering to them. You know, whatever they tell me to do, I'm going to do it. I'm surrendered because, you know, I want the paycheck at the end of the week or whatever like that. So, but this is a different kind of service. Of course, bhakti is completely different than any material kind of service because it's unconditional. And we love Krishna, you know, whether he pays us or doesn't, whether there's pay or no pay, you know, we love Krishna. Whether Krishna gives us happiness or suffering, you know, we love Krishna, you know, unconditionally. Like that was the teaching of the gopis, that, you know, even though Krishna gave them heartbreak and pain because he left Vrindavan and didn't return. But they never stopped loving Krishna. They always loved Krishna. So that was the lesson Krishna was teaching through the gopis, is that real love is unconditional. So the knowledge builds up. When the knowledge is full, you surrender. When you surrender, you engage in devotional service. You engage in devotional service. And then when you engage in devotional service, then what happens after that? What is Krishna saying here in text 18? What happens after you serve?
Try to attain him.
Yeah. So it means you're going to be living with Krishna. You're going to be living with Krishna. Where is Krishna in the spiritual world? So you're going to be living with Krishna in the spiritual world. So you're going to be you're going to be having lunch with Krishna.
Oh.
You're going to be embracing Krishna. You're going to be putting a garland on Krishna, and Krishna sometime might put a garland on you. And sometime you pop the samosa in Krishna's mouth, and sometimes Krishna will put the kachori in your mouth. Do you get that? Sometime you will massage Krishna's feet. Sometime Krishna will massage your feet.
It'll take 1 trillion lifetime.
Sometime, like if you're in the form of a sucker, a coward boy, Sometime Krishna will ride on your back. Sometime you will ride on Krishna's back. So do you get it, what it's saying? I consider to be just like my own self. Once you reach the spiritual world, there's no separation. I mean, no, you could say distinction between Krishna and Krishna's devotee. They're both on the same level. You get that?
Yeah.
We see that in the material world that Krishna is, I mean, God is great and we are very small or whatever like that. But in the spiritual world, it doesn't work like that. Once you reach that platform of pure love, and the spiritual world is just pure love, there's no higher and lower and all this kind of stuff. And in the spiritual world, no one sees Krishna as God. Did you know that? Once you reach the spiritual world, no one sees that Krishna is God. Krishna's parents in the spiritual world see that Krishna is just the most beautiful child. He's the most wonderful child. All Krishna's boyfriends think he's just the best boyfriend, you know, best friend, Saka. And all the coward girls are thinking Krishna's just the ultimate lover, you know, and like that. So, and like I said, sometimes Krishna will take the devotee as in the superior position. It means like if Krishna's side loses a game to the opposing party, then the losing party has to carry the winning party on their back, like in the games they would play. So then if Krishna's side lost the game, then you'd have one devotee would be riding on Krishna's back like that. So you're on the same level. Once you reach the spiritual world, you're on the same level with God. That's amazing. And you're not going to find that in Christianity. You're not going to find that in Mohammedan religion. You're not going to find that anywhere except for the Vaishnava philosophy, you know, in Vedic culture and Vaishnava philosophy. You're not going to find that you can actually become equal to God, or even in some cases higher than God. That's incredible. Of course, the devotee never thinks like that. The devotee never thinks I'm better than Krishna, I'm higher than Krishna. He always see, even in the spiritual world, Krishna's mother and father, they have a mood of serving Krishna. You know, even Krishna's friends, you know, they're, you could say, equal to Krishna, but they are also in the mood of serving Krishna. Even like Radharani, right? Sometimes she gets upset and Krishna's massaging her feet, but she's also in the mood of serving Krishna. Why is she getting upset? To please Krishna. That is part of her service to Krishna, because Krishna enjoys that. You know, so no one takes advantage of that, because you could, right? Imagine you got led into the spiritual world and you become more powerful than Krishna. You could take advantage of that, you know, try to control God. But no one does that. Everyone in the spiritual world, even if you're, you know, in a higher position, you could say, like if you're Krishna's parent in the spiritual world, or a senior friend or something like that, or that, but no one takes advantage of that and tries to exploit Krishna or abuse Krishna or anything like that. Everyone has a mood of service. There's one verse saying, Guru Sama Lagu Ke Krishna Dasya Bhava. That Guru means superior, and Sama means equal, and Lagu Ke means junior. So it doesn't matter whether you're a guru of Krishna, Guru, Sama, or Lagu Ke, but Krishna Dasya Bhava. Everyone has the bhava, the feeling of Krishna Dasya. I'm a servant. So Krishna's parents always thinking, you know, how can I serve Krishna? Krishna's boyfriends How can I serve Krishna like that? But Krishna, he likes to put his devotees on a higher platform than himself. So Krishna, like I said, he wants to serve the devotees. So the devotees always want to serve Krishna in the spiritual world, and Krishna always wants to serve the devotees. Like in the spiritual world, Krishna's father, Nanda, will say, Krishna, bring me my chappals. So in Krishna's bal form, his baby form, he appears to struggle to carry his father's wooden shoes, are very heavy. They're not plastic slippers, they're wooden shoes. You know, I've got some traditional Indian shoes. They're quite heavy wood. And you hold on to the shoe with between your toes. You know, have you seen them before?
Yeah,
I'll show you. Just a sec. These are the wooden shoes.
Oh, okay.
So you
Yeah.
hold on with your toes. With your toes, you hold on. So Krishna, when he was baby, he couldn't like carry them. So he put them on his head, his father's shoes on his head, and he was carrying them to his father like that. And his parents were just in ecstasy, seeing their beautiful child like trying his best to do the service, even though it seemed, of course, he wasn't really struggling, but he's acting like a child like that. So it's very sweet, very sweet. But, you know, Krishna loves to serve his devotees, and the devotees love to serve Krishna. So that's real love, you know. So, but and that platform of pure love can be approachable through knowledge, you know, through knowledge. So when we have that full knowledge and we realize that Krishna is everything, there's nothing other than Krishna and Krishna's service, then you surrender, and then you're always doing service. And then in due course of time, your body dies, you go back to Godhead, and then you become on an equal level with Krishna. And like I said, you know, you embrace each other and have so much fun together and feeding each other and doing all kinds of wonderful things, dancing together and feasting together and everything together, enjoying, playing and everything like that. So you're on an equal level. So that's why he's saying here, I consider to be just like my own self.
Hard to imagine that though.
Yeah, hard to imagine. Yep. Hard to imagine that. Yeah. So yeah, that's why we have these soul searching sessions, because we're still building up the knowledge. We're still building up the knowledge, you know. So, and when it gets complete, then you know the penny will drop. We'll accept the fact that we're Krishna's servant. He's our master, and there's nothing other than Krishna and his service. And then we're going to live happily ever after in the spiritual world. Wow, that's ecstatic. That's ecstatic. And then, like it says, that's Krishna saying himself, the highest and most perfect goal. You know, so going back home, back to Godhead and living with God, that's the most perfect goal. That's the highest goal. Of course, in ignorance, we have so many goals. I have a 5-year goal to, you know, to attain this level in the business. You know, I have a 10-year goal to become a millionaire. I have a 20-year goal to, you know, buy my, like that. You know, so many goals. But the highest goal, the ultimate goal, is to go back to Godhead. Get free
The
from the cycle.
goals, the material goals, as long as they're used in the service of Krishna, so that's okay.
Yeah, of course, yeah. All the steps on the way to surrendering to God and serving God is also perfect, is also good. Anything that leads us to surrendering to Krishna and serving Krishna is good. And anything that leads us away from that, anything that leads us away from surrendering to God and serving God is bad, you know, is Maya, like that. So we have to see it in that, you know, there's a Vedic saying, phalena parichate. Phalena means fruit, and parichate means, you judge it by the fruit. So you judge a process by the result. So if it gives you the result of Krishna consciousness, that was good. If it gives you the result of no Krishna consciousness, then you're still in Maya, then that's bad. That's a bad process. Like that. So you judge it like that. So that's the thing. And I know people that were Buddhists before they became Krishna conscious. I know some that were Christians before. I know some that were atheists before. Some that were vegetarians before they became Krishna conscious, or vegans, or whatever, So whatever leads you to Krishna consciousness, that's good. It's good. It's good.
I have to excuse myself. Sorry about the
time's
phone
up anyway.
because
Time's up.
my son, I have to pick him up from placement.
Yeah. And we'll be away for a month or so. So
that's right.
This will be the last one from me for a month or so. But if you all want to still get together and discuss the Bhagavad Gita, that'd be great. That'd be awesome too. So I'll leave it up to you guys and girls. So whatever you want to do.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay. Okay.
Have a safe trip, and we look forward to when you're back.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You have a good trip. Hopefully, with the reason you go